Welcome everyone to Cliterati, which is our inviting and fierce open mic and reading series that celebrates new voices and seasoned veterans alike. Tonight we have a featured poet. Amanda Bennett is in the house. She is a poet, cultural critic. She's a poet, cultural critic, and conjurer of queer Black feminist futures, raised by the South and rooted in Atlanta. Tonight we're celebrating Working the Roots, which is a poetry collection that is grounded in spirit, theory, and survival. You can pick up your own copy of Working the Roots from Brittany up front, or if you're watching from online, you can purchase one by clicking that teal button that says Buy Working the Roots from Charis Books and More. Buying your books from Charis helps us keep putting on events like Cliterati and our other full calendar of events. So please support us while you purchase Working the Roots. I'm going to hand it off to one of our incredible hosts for the evening, Karen G or Theresa. Karen G!
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight and being in this space with us. Poetry, words, music, whatever happens, happens. I feel like this room is more sacred now than ever before. And with that, I have a couple of poems, and Theresa and I will go first, so you don't have to. This is from a writing group I'm part of where we are supposed to talk about dragons. So, unkilled dragons. I don't kill dragons. I just keep them as tattoos, as paints on the back of an old leather jacket, referencing Anne McCaffrey novels, and a time period when all my lesbian friends read her and imagined our own lands of Sappho and Aphrodite and Amazon, but named it Pern. I keep my dragons fed on soup and tea, liquid diets until I need their fire. Then it's bamboo, kudzu, weeds to burn instead of old growth forest. Did you know most dragons are vegetarians? That they regret charred flesh that makes them sick? That their tears are often molten when they cry? My dragons have cold blood and seek warmth, peat moss and hot springs. They have social gatherings and off seasons when humans can't catch them skinny bathing in sulfur bubbles. Some of them fly on opalescent wings related to dragonflies, distant wingspan cousins, and some are just as small, flickering peripherally in mid flight, everywhere, every direction. It's autumn equinox, and I'm preparing miso ramen for myself and my dragons to keep us well. Even if we sometimes want, well, me, sometimes want a quarter pounder veggie burger with cheese. We aren't vegan, me and my dragons, although I don't really consider them mine. Not pets, not security guards to the rescue, more like useful friends forgotten, remembered, and missed. What if we thought of our ghosts as dragons, fellow revolutionaries, lost like fantasy titles, Avalon, Mists of Time, Broken Compass? I had people once, now they're dragons. Um, so keep thing, right? Something later, and then, as sometimes happens, work in dystopian academia. I write poems. Don't tell anybody, Kat. I write poems at 4 o'clock. Um, Dear Autumn, please come over. Please, with your cooler evenings, breeze out the scorch of days and humid post shower suffocations. Take the exoskeletal bugs, ants, and gnats with you. Take the rot and overripe of wilted flowers and their many tiny worms and compost the many shedding palms. Submerge the moldy, the past due, squash, and compost it all. Dear Autumn, please remind us of what being ground down actually is versus being grounded. Dear Autumn, thank you for the accumulated chili stew and soup recipes that bring us closer to digesting veggies and heavy loads of fibrous beans, bone broths and scraps of protein. I appreciate the ability to make overnight crock-pot oats, mulled cider and wine, pumpkin pie spice to everything, nutmeg and maple to the mix. Please bring us the scents of warm bread, sauces, and steam. I love the way you can bring people together over a platter, a mug, and underneath a comforter with permission to read and nap and slow. Dear Autumn, I welcome your darker hours, which I'll light candles in and keep the lights on for. I always feel more awake in your liminal time zones, more alert than drowsy, as if a slight chill brings cooler breath to clean my mind with. Thank you for the rustling, the breathing, the shadowy work, the full moons. Dear Autumn, I implore you to let the Democrats or independents win us little inches away from fascism. Even as the Voting Rights Act is torn apart and that blue smear across rural Georgia and Alabama is trying to be erased, what is coming is not all of us, but what many of us do not deserve. Dear Autumn, what is Halloween when real life is actual terror? When children and people's bodies are snatched from school streets and precincts, your carved gourds and sweet candy turn tart and quaint as the season spins. More sheets in the streets with ghosts and ties. Please bring us back from the witch hunt times. They were wrong the first times. Dear Autumn, I read an article interviewing an actor who said that the quote should not be about knowing history or being doomed to repeat it, but that humans do know our history and we are doomed to repeat it. And today, in a meeting with one of the smartest members of faculty I've ever met, who was losing her job, she amended the quote about how long the arc of history bends toward justice to say that sometimes the arc bends too close to justice and then arcs backward, and this is where we are. Dear Autumn, may we live through this toward spring. Dear Autumn, portend, may your omens yet bring spring. Shivered through from one liminal season to another, darkness into the light. Thank you for that. Theresa motherfucking Davis is going to do some poems first, so you don't have to.
Actually, I'm going to do the story.
Oh, yay.
Yay. All right. So there's a lit event in the town that we are in called Write Club. And they basically give two writers opposing themes and you write about those things, right? Pretty cool. And it kind of gets me out of my, because I ultimately, yeah, poet, also storyteller, right? And so I have a bunch of stories that I never tell because first, I don't want to hear somebody say, oh, you should have been arrested. And then second, I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, that's not true. You know, as a poet, I try to be as authentic as I can, and I never take someone else's story. So I don't do that in my story. But I'm able to unearth these teaching stories that I have because, oh Lord, I was a teacher at Horizon School for 30 years. I basically created the curriculum, and I was a big fan of the teachable moment. Can't do that today. If I did half the shit I did when I was a teacher, today I would be heavily litigated and fired. So the word I was given was charmed. And I was going to say no one was harmed in telling the story, but there is a dead goldfish and there is a Chuck E. Cheese employee who needed minor medical attention. What's that, you ask? Have I lived a charmed life? A life of extraordinary luck that seems unusually protected from dangers and difficulties, often appearing to be guided by magic. So, I'm standing in a bathroom with 14 children, a Tupperware container holding a dead body of a goldfish with 14 names, and I think this is how I lose my job. That year, my second and third graders decided the class pet would be a goldfish. I am relieved because I can afford to replace goldfish. The weekend before the event, Atlanta weather did what Atlanta weather does: lots of rain and then a cold snap. I sauntered into my classroom that Monday morning early to prepare for my week, only to find the goldfish with 14 names doing the opposite of living in that fish tank. There is lots of swearing. There is no replacement fish. I scramble to clean up the tank before the kids show up. I scoop out the fish, put them in the Tupperware, haul the tank to the porch, pump the water out, replace the water, set the pump and temperature, drop the pills that gave me to make the water fish appropriate, grab one of the extra shirts because I am soaking wet. I go back to getting my room together. I lose track of time. When I get back to my desk, the fish is still dead. So I grab it, head to the bathroom, and I bump into Erin. Erin is a third grader who wants to be a veterinarian, but has a thing about bodily fluids and causing animals pain. She also ran for class president. She was the only candidate. Yes, she won by a landslide. Erin sees what I am holding and actually screeches while clutching invisible pearls. She informs me that the class has to have a meeting about what to do with their best friend, the fish, with all the names. She scolds me by telling me that trying to flush the fish without them knowing was kind of mean. I put the top back on the Tupperware. The rest of my students arrive and Erin starts the meeting. They decide they want to have a funeral. Erin's mom is still there because of all the shrieking. She called off work because she decided to hang out because this might be cool. The class wants to go outside to find the perfect spot to bury their best friend, the fish, so the sun can keep it warm. I interrupt their meeting to give them a mini lesson on feral cats and the horror of dying twice. They agree to a burial flushing. Erin has created committees. There's a program committee. There will be a song by the choir. I am asked what the speech is called at a funeral, who are the people who carry the coffin, and what is the information about their life called. So I explain eulogy, pallbearer, and obituaries. Erin's mom asks if she can provide the food for the repast. And that's when I realize I am no longer in control here. I am, however, fascinated. These kids are planning an event better than some people I know who get paid to plan events. Later, they will go home and swear they learned nothing all day. Parents start showing up with changes of clothing, more food, and they do not leave. The funeral is to take place at noon, so that it's over by lunch, and then they will have the repast for the rest of the day. My classroom is packed. Other classes have joined. There are 14 incredibly creative eulogies, and I don't know if this fish even knew the adventures it had, or that his favorite color was green or possibly purple, and that while it did not live out its lifelong dream to be the first goldfish to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, it did indeed live a wonderful life. There is a choir rendition of Under the Sea that is so fucking creepy and disturbing, but it is in harmony. Then Erin asks if anyone has final words, and a kindergartner stands and goes on in tears about the fish, who was her very bestest friend, and how they both like the very hungry caterpillar very, very much. There is a processional to the bathroom, where the pallbearers pass the Tupperware down the line and then pile into the bathroom behind me, and that is how I find myself in the bathroom, with 14 children, a Tupperware container holding the dead body of a goldfish with 14 names. They sing the hook of Kumbaya. Then count to 3. I flush. Someone says amen. We file out of the bathroom, and I keep waiting for the parents to be something, I don't know, bothered, confused, outraged, stage an intervention, because who the fuck allows a funeral curriculum? But they are chatting and laughing and smiling and hugging on me. They all seem completely charmed by what has occurred. Erin's mom makes me a plate of fried chicken, mac and cheese, and collard greens at a fish funeral. I do not lose my job. Months later, I will take my students on a reward trip for good behavior to Chuck E. Cheese. Months later, I will find myself peeling multiple students, from a mouthy white dude in a Chuck E. Cheese costume who let a racial slur fall from his mouth a little too close to the ball pit, prompting my 14 feral scholars to go Lord of the Flies apeshit on him. And this is when I think the cops are going to come and the news is going to show up, and 14 children and their teacher are going to be handcuffed and perp walk out. And this is how I lose my job, actually. When I get back to school, I'm summoned to the principal's office to discuss the incident. Dr. Wilson laughs so hard, she has to leave the room. And I do not lose my job. So yes, I do believe I have lived a charmed life. And by the way, I ran into Erin many years later. She shrieked my name across Atlantic Station because that's how she rolls. She told me she'd done her first autopsy on a horse. Oh, wow. She is a forensic veterinarian. Oh. Guess she got over all that body fluid thing. So yes, we have all lived a charmed life indeed. Thank y'all for listening to that. All right. And I won my bout. Yay! You know, we had a lot of newbies last time. So Right Club happens at Dad's Garage, like, I think it's second Wednesday of the month. It's a pretty good show. You should go see it. Check it out. Go look them up. And yeah, it's cool. So I'm going to get in to the list. And I have Chris B. Chris B, come to the mic.
Good evening, everyone. This piece is called Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared to the basket. I take a deep breath and release it slowly as I stare at the rim. I bend my knees and dribble twice, then stand back up. I inhale again, feeling the tension in my lungs. I exhale and allow my shoulders to relax. As my breath nears its natural end, I shoot. The ball moves in a graceful arc. Swish. My free throw is the product of discipline and hours of work. I practice every day, even in the off season when I hoop in the driveway. I work on my crossover dribble. I work on my fadeaway jumpers, my offhand layups, and every day I end my practice with 50 free throws. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. Breathe in, breathe out. Bounce, bounce. Inhale, exhale, shoot, swish. Or over and over again I shoot. Discipline makes order of chaos. And I use this time to sort out the struggles of growing up different in small town Louisiana. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. I used to think I was a boy. I don't anymore, but I miss it. Breathe in. I still don't really feel like a girl most of the time. Breathe out. If my friends and my family knew what really goes on in my head, they would think I was crazy. Bounce, bounce. Maybe I am crazy. Inhale. But I don't understand why I have to pretend to be something I'm not. Exhale. Because those are the rules. Relax. I am disciplined. Shoot. I followed the rules. Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. When and why did I start to care what people think of me? Until a couple of years ago, I was still running around the bayou with my friends, catching crawfish to use as bait on cane poles, or sitting in Richard's room playing Risk and listening to Yes. Then Dad and I had the talk. He sat in the rocking chair in my room, the one Mom used when we were babies, and said, "Sugar, you have to stop hanging around with the boys all the time. You're too grown up. It's not safe." Deep down, I know he's right. But still, I glance across the street at Richard's house. I miss my friends. I miss the camaraderie. But most of all, I miss the freedom. Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. I honestly try to fit in. I don't want to be different. A month ago, my mom and I went shopping for new clothes. We picked outfits like the one I'd seen in my sister's 17 magazine, mid-thigh flouncy skirts, blouses with poofy sleeves, matching earrings, and jeans with tiny useless pockets. When I get home, I try them on again. I felt like I was playing Go-Go's album cover dress up. When I looked in the mirror, all I could see was the soft curves of my hips and my breasts. I turn away and change back into Levi's and a t-shirt. My new clothes still hang mostly untouched at the back of my closet. My mom doesn't say a word about it. I love her for that. Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. I wish Lisa would stop dating Mark. He's a manipulative asshole who only wants one thing. Lisa and I have been friends since we were 11. We sit together at lunch and usually take the same classes with the other smart kids. On the weekends, we hang out and listen to records. REO Speedwagon, Journey, Heart. I want to tell her what I think of Mark, but I know I can't. Instead, I lie on her floor and breathe in the scent of jasmine shampoo. I love her. I'd do anything for her, except trust her. She can never know how I feel. No one can. Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. I've been dating Trey for 2 months now. He's a nice guy, and I like it when it comes to my games. Makes me look normal. All my friends say he's cute, but I hate the way he kisses me. All tongue and teeth and slobber. I feel trapped when he holds me too close, and I want to push away. Is it too soon to break up with him? Maybe I'll wait until after prom. Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. This moment is mine. There's no one to block me, no one to challenge me, no reason to hide. This is why I practice, knowing that the hard work will serve me well when I'm standing at the stripe in the adrenaline-charged fog of a game. Discipline makes order of chaos. Swish. Toes to the line, shoulders squared. It doesn't matter who or what I am outside the gym. On the court, I am golden. Breathe in, breathe out. I don't have to disguise myself with clothes and makeup. Bounce, bounce. Nobody judges me when I'm at that line, not even myself. Inhale, exhale. There are no boyfriends to grope and paw me, no one to disappoint, no guilt. Just me in a sweat-soaked jersey. Even the sound of the crowd and the squeak of high tops fade. Relax. Shoot. This is my citadel, and I thrive here. Triumph has a sound, and that sound is swish.
Yeah. Well, give it up for Chris, first timer on this mic. That's awesome. Please come back. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know that like sometime tomorrow or next week, I'm going to be like, okay, there was this thing about toes to the line, square, like, I'm going to remember that. Thank you. That was so awesome. Next on the list, we have Kyle Jones. Kyle, oh yes. Perfect. Awesome. Good to see you.
Hello. I'm feeling the dystopian vibe.
Yeah.
With you, and so I wrote this a couple weeks ago. We've taken our wild minds and put them in cages on public display like a zoo. They're taken from flocks and herds and prides and ponds and tethered to the walls of their cells by their USB cords. Mm-hmm. They pace back and forth in front of iron bars where ruts have been worn into the cold, damp, gritty dirt floors. Their eyes, which used to see birds high up in the sky, or the smiles of strangers from across the street, rarely stray from the ground. Their necks bent by the electric shock collars strapped onto them by the keepers. Once in a while, thoughts arise on withered haunches within the mind, a childhood memory of a time spent admiring an iridescent beetle on a fallen leaf, or the loving hands of a grandparent picking us up to wrap us in a hug. The thoughts grow like tender shoots rising from chilly soil after a soaking springtime rain, until a flash from the collar strikes the newly formed thought down, like a late springtime frost, and the tender thought withers and dies. And with it dies wonder and empathy, imagination and sensuality. The wild minds are dragged back into the bleak reality of the cage, the rut in the cold ground, and the bars that separate them from the reality just outside of reach on the other side. Teeth once used to grind leaves and seeds and fruits into nourishment that fueled days of wandering through untamed wild, field and forest, now wobble and rot in their sockets, weakened by the processed kibble curated by the keepers to meet caloric needs and nothing more. Sometimes the minds snap at the hands of the keepers, only to be cowed by a shock from their collars, quickly lowering their heads to stare at the ground once more. It's time for our wild minds to recall our animal nature and the strength we once had, to chew through the flimsy cords that tether our minds to the walls within the bleak cells. It's time to drag the overbearing keepers to the ground and eviscerate their cruelty and power. It's time to look around us to see others in their cells and call them into the fray. It's time to realize that we are all eating the same disgusting gruel and losing our teeth and our sight and our sanity. We must remember that we can sing and purr and chortle, as well as growl and hiss and roar. That we have stripes and spots and feathers and fur and snouts and beaks and fangs. We build nests and dens where we raise our young, and we live in forests and deserts and mountains and seas. We must release our minds from the cages and return them to their wild homes, where they can run and fly and slither and climb and swim and return to tenderness and awe and passion and playfulness. It's time to lift our gazes from the ground and to rattle the gates of our cages and tear them from their flimsy hinges. And it's time to realize that we are the keepers who tether and trap and torture our wild minds.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was Kyle, y'all. Thank you. Come back. We are here. Well, no, this is our last. This is our last Cliterati until next year, I believe, right? Yeah, we're back in January, so make sure you don't show up next month, because guess what? We won't be here. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. Jill, are you ready? Come on down. Y'all give it up for Jill.
Well, I haven't been writing for about a year, and recently I've just been writing and writing and writing, partly due to workshops. And I was going to bring and do a couple of new poems for you, and in the whole commotion of getting my day organized for all that, I live about an hour away, for getting everything done in town. When I was here in Atlanta, I forgot my poems. So here I am, and I thought I would do something a little bit different. I have some short poems, and then I'll do one that needs a content alert. This first one is a new poem. I wrote it in Theresa's workshop this past Saturday. And I have to say, you guys need to find out about Arts Exchange and come to these workshops. They're so well organized. She figures out these prompts every single month, has them all organized, puts them up on a video machine or something like that. And honestly, you're just almost compelled to write. They're the best workshops I've been to. That's true. Anyway, I walked in late, all that traffic Saturday, and I had like 2 minutes to do the first prompt. So here's what the idea was: take some kind of ordinary thing and personify, let it personify it, let it speak for you. Well, I didn't do that exactly, but I looked up and I saw something, and this is what I wrote. An ordinary thing. A little golden house surrounded by golden flowers, like a house in a dream, like a place one could settle in, be easy, simple, happy. Turn it upside down and it snows. Mm-hmm. I like that little poem. I'm going to do a couple of old ones for you. This is a very old poem, very, very old. Blue. I've got the blues so bad, I'd like to wallow in dirt. I've got the blues so bad, I'd like to wallow in dirt and get bit by bugs. I've got the bad blues, the old kick me again, I ain't no good, low down, get back, down river blues. I'm so damn blue, I don't want to look. I don't want to see blue sky and deep blue water and the peculiar old blue of the chicory flowers. Blues like a fish on a line, like a cat not quite able to climb the stairs to get home before I die blues. I've got the white girl waking up crying blue blues, the seeing my last chance man walk off with a slick chick on his arm blues, the blue shirt, blue pants, blue-eyed blues. Woman, I got the nobody knows my name, can't figure out what year I was born. Saw my last child leave in a storm blues. I'm so damn blue, I got plenty to spare. Blue blues. And this one was written about a year and a half ago. Maybe. The new boat, a little sailor, grabs the wind and sails like laughter, as though there were no such thing as grief. All right, this one calls for a content alert. If you've got a mother in a nursing home or a assisted living, you might want to go peruse some books, or if you're online, turn the volume down. Because this is about a woman in a very nice, if I can find it, in a very nice assisted living place and the injuries that she sustained. It's called, do I need to? Okay. Holding Space. Beautiful and broken, the drugs like chimes have taken her into the ephemeral. 9 fractured ribs, 1 fractured vertebrae, both clavicles broken, 1 arm bruised as though a strong hand forced her, as though she fought. They found her on the floor. Only days before, she asked for a gun. Who listens to an old woman's story underneath such a request? We do our best, and it is not enough. No guns, no cameras, just her thanks for the smallest kindness. The morphine eases her pain and takes her breath, leaving us helpless and guilty of not hearing, not knowing the cruel passions that take keys like honest aids of beautiful old women, unable to lock them out. Gone, she looks ready to tell in plain words and smile again. We will get him, I think toward her, but despite trying, we don't.
Your turn, my turn. Your turn. Okay. All right. Y'all put your hands together right. Thank you, Jill. Put your hands together right now for Gabby. who would like to not be uploaded on the YouTube, please, and thank you very much. Gabby.
I'm nervous. I went to the Sapphic Creative Writing Group last week, and the theme was Gothic poetry. So this is what I wrote. It's called Ribbon Tethers Past Self. Ribbon round the bed, round the bed, round the bed. Lost and fragile hair that left my head, caught inside the web, inside the web, inside the web. Groaning tree storm town, snap, the house awakens. Ever try to leave a house that carries your mind inside its walls? Nights a dance, mornings a sway, kitchen a burnt tongue, kitchen grandma's dessert, kitchen tears unheard, kitchen your cat's favorite toy, kitchen your birthday party, kitchen after you wake up, kitchen middle of the night, kitchen running from a monster, kitchen inescapable schoolhouse. House. A kitchen and a bedroom and a place to remember and a place to stake art and a place to dream lucid. Anyways, back to the bed, round the head, round the head. Ever try to leave a bedroom unlike the kitchen? Bedroom, a time capsule. Bedroom, a haunted mirror. Bedroom, birthing fantasy. Bedroom that no one's seen. Bedroom that changes faces so life feels in motion. Bedroom, dusty corners. Bedroom, perfect story. Bedroom, transformation. A room and a room and a house. And a house by a tree, by a whisper and a frown and gentle hands and a clump of dirt and a symphonic fragment and a flicker. It takes years to travel, light years to unravel a house at all. Lightning stumbles like an inebriated tree, accidental chop, accidental cleave, aftermath, after party, all is melting, all you see. If I could choose, can you ever choose? If I could choose what memories remain, I would choose the fragile ribbon and the bedpost it was tied to. I would choose the riptide hairs tangled on it like want. I would choose their elegant stiffness, their delicate length, their sturdy harmony. I would choose the dark midnight eaten slowly like chocolate. I would choose its windless perch upon the stern of your southern dogwood. I would choose the spider's breath, its hourglass window of moonlight letters. I would choose the plum bedspread, my raging flight, our shadow reflection. I would choose our tether, our tug, our tea-soaked kitchen cabinet. I would choose your glassy face, your bar smile, your gas fire. I would choose the blue glimmer before the house awakens. I would choose the ribbon, the hair, the web of my dreaming. I would choose moments before the scramble to sleep deeply. Again, I would choose to not wake up and see this house split in two.
That was awesome. That was really, really awesome. Thank you. I love the repetition of that too. That was great. And next we have B. B. Yay.
While we wait for B, if you are out and about on Saturday and you have nothing to do and you want to get your ass kicked and scrambled by me,
Yes.
you come to the Arts Exchange.
Arts Exchange.
I will beat you for free. And I will give you snacks.
There will be snacks. Yes.
So 2 4 every third and fourth Saturday. It's family friendly. And like I said, I was a teacher for a long time. I use that tool to get my kids to write and trick them into learning shit they told home and said they learned nothing. You ready? B.
Yes, B.
Hi. I'm glad I got here because I didn't know this was gonna be the last one of the year, so that's good timing that I got here. This first poem, this is new. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote it. It's just one of those things where you just start writing and you're like, huh, that's got a nice ring to it, and then you just I do not worship any god. I am the divine that I worship. Are you telling me that my body, with the ability to create, to inspire, to break down and build itself up again, does not deserve to be praised? Holy men once told me my body was shameful, that it was full breasts and a hooded clit that made Eve blush and cover herself in shame. The sight of my breasts and hooded clit bring a hallelujah to my lips. I cry out in thanks to my mother who blessed me with such a figure, and I kneel at an altar of me. Yes, this body burns like bonfires being danced around by free women. Yes, this body cries out in pain like my mother did during 7 labors. Yes, this body bleeds, breaks, builds, back up again. But the blood is a sacrifice. I let it pass and coat my thighs, crushed in my underwear so that I can be free. This body that bleeds, it's my pride and joy, my temple and my hierophant. It is the wine I drink and the bread that I break to become one with myself. I will not allow it to assimilate. I will not bow to holy men who use shame like a hot knife to carve out the beauty and strength of young girls who look like me. This body that my mother gave me, I will worship, I will praise, cry out, rejoice. I will bleed and break and build, birth, die, and be born again over and over as many times as there are stars in the sky. That is cause for prayer. That is why I cry out hallelujah, why I no longer hide in shame. This poem is for my mom. It is getting close to the anniversary of her passing, and it just started as a letter to myself, and then of course became about her because how could it not? If I could tell my younger self anything, it wouldn't be everything's gonna be fine. It would be don't stop fighting, keep holding on, I'm here. If I could stand before my younger self, I would hold them. Hugs and forehead kisses would be the only thing exchanged between us. If I could speak to my younger self about my now, about her future, I'd tell them, when it feels like you haven't hugged her enough, let her hold you. When she feels like she'll slip away, hold her hand. When you feel like you haven't looked into her silver eyes enough, look longer. When she feels like when it feels like you have nothing to say to her, sing instead. When you have that soul-crushing sadness, let her in. When she tells you to read Condoleezza Rice and the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, read it. When she reads you Mirandy and Brother Wynn and Roosevelt Grady and A Chair for My Mother and Llama Llama Red Pajamas and Juna B. Jones, listen. When she smiles, burn it into your eyes. When she sings, take a piece of her voice out the air and keep it on your nightstand. When she says you are beautiful, believe it. When she says she loves you, say it back. When she asks for a hug, run and jump into her arms. If I could speak to my younger self, I wouldn't say much, just that. This song is also for my mom. I didn't write it. It's called Pictures of Us by Biba Doobie. Paintings and rise. And I don't know what it means to get better. Last night's emergency, her and me. She reminded me that God starts with a capital, but I don't think I could do it all. No, I don't think I could do it. She reminded me that God starts with a capital, but I don't think I could do it all. Do it all, but I don't think I could do it. I don't know what it means to get better. Last night's emergency, her and me. That's it. Goodbye.
Thank you. All right, I know some folks walked in after we started. Did anybody who walked in want to share on the mic? Oh, and tell me your name. Okay, yeah, say it louder. Cassidy? Yeah. And louder. Laura? All right. Put your hands together right now, right now, right now, right now.
Autumn tends to always feel like the second line of summer finally lands at the church. And it's just like everything gets a little more quiet and serious. So I wrote a bunch of poems about some trans and non-binary folks who passed, and their myths about what life is like after they passed. So this is The Great Bird Over Syracuse. On January 31st, 2025, non-binary Army veteran Elisa Ray Shoup died by an apparent suicide outside the top of a VA hospital parking garage. She sent her suicide note to several news outlets. None reported it. The first person to have the gender marker X on her driver's license, she died by hanging, draped in the trans flag. And the sky over Syracuse has never been the same. Every sunset tinged with blue and pink in a storm of feathers, there is a bird in the sky, bigger than a cloud, than a swarm of helicopters. The bird has talons big enough to rend steel and scoop a child out of their own last decision. The bird is too fast to be seen, or sexed, or studied. It is a burst of color and sound, of feathers and rage and beauty, pink and pale blue, belly of down white as uncrushed snow. Her wings gust unchanged streets into hurricanes of new air, so strong that they could pull a body into the wind. Syracuse is just the start. The bird is moving southward, stretching wings across a country of black skies, tearing apart army planes, ripping the roofs off of state houses, and roosting over guilty men's homes. The bird is beautiful and impossible to ignore. When she opens her terrible beak, when she fills the air with raucous song, when she cries, everyone hears her. And this is the Great Pine of Watani Forest, Georgia. Manuel Esteban Perez Terán, also known as Tortuguita, was a non-binary Venezuelan environmental activist and eco-anarchist. They were shot and killed by Georgia State Patrol troopers during a raid on the Stop Cop City Forest encampment in Atlanta, Georgia on January 18, 2023. The investigation surrounding their death is ongoing as of 2024. And now, ripping through concrete strong and wide as time, is a loblolly pine, bristling with shivering needles that whisper like Samizdat. 140 feet tall, its branches glint silver as the shattered windows of police cars in moonlight. Stubborn as kudzu, the tree explodes and shoots right back up every time they cut it down to make room for something else. The tree summers green. The air around it heavy as tear gas and good oxygen, its base is ringed in a riot of new growth. Its boughs sprawl wide enough to shelter 61,000 species of songbirds and offer shade enough to keep an entire police force in the dark. Its bark is mottled golden and brown, shines pearlescent in the sun as a tortoise shell. In the right light, it shines, bright as a smile, against the leaves of its home. This is the last one. This is The Great Blight of Yates County, New York. In 2025, authorities outlined an astonishing story of kidnap, torture, and sexual assault in the killing of Sam Nordquist, a transgender man from Minnesota who was allegedly imprisoned by 7 people in a small room of an upstate motel for a month before he died and was discovered in a farmer's field. And now nothing will grow here, not even grass. Every seed in the earth spits back out yellow and hard as bones or black as bruises. Every tuber and root sinks into the soil tight as dog's jaws and doesn't come up. The soil is wounded and abused and unwelcome, so nobody plants. Nobody sticks anything in the ground without it blowing away like a bad season. It's a bad season forever now. And every patch of land for 700 miles in every direction is useless, and cold is venom and hard dirt, and every field is a messy hotel room. Is an apocalypse that could have stopped 22 times but wasn't. The whole town is a ruin. If only a man with love in his heart and kindness in his gentle hands could come to town and fix everything. Then maybe the whole fallow town would come back to life, and things would grow again. It could be different this time. We promise.
Thank you, Billy, for that. I've really felt that. Thank you. And then next we have Cassidy. Do it for Cassidy. Yeah. Yes. Great. Safety. Yes.
Hello. I didn't have anything exactly prepared because I was just coming to support, but since this is the last one of the year, I thought I'd find something in my notes. Thank you. This is kind of like plagiarism from the last poem I did here. Your revision. As in, like, I heard that quote, and I guess I started making it again, and then I realized, oh, I've already done this poem. But I guess it's not bad. Copying. Grief is God. She's never ending, all encompassing, all knowing. Grief is king. She has my respect, the kind earned from fear, paid in blood. She's everything, all that I am, and I am nothing. I'm the beggar, the leper, bleeding myself dry to pay tithes and taxes, praying for a miracle that will never come to pass, fighting whatever battle she imposes upon my path. Such is faith, such is loyalty, kneeling and bowing to my liege. And then, sorry, trying to find the next one. I only do what I can't afford to avoid. So when work is through, the rest is all just painful noise. The anxiety and depression rise, looming over like the shadow of an approaching tsunami, and I feel like the pit of my stomach drop to the soles of my feet. We know the feeling well. It's choking us right now all at once. We don't feel it until we're all alone, or even when we're with friends, but too deep in our minds. When I'm disconnected, I'm numb and in a trance. When I'm awake and aware, I feel uncomfortable in my skin and I have a mouth, but I won't allow myself to scream. Plagiarism.
We have our last open micer before our feature. Y'all give it up for Laura.
Thank you all. This is my first Cliterati, so I was grateful to come here on what's the last of the year. Yeah, I'm gonna read a few. Wasn't sure if I'd get the chance, so I'm sort of like scrambling with my phone, but you know, the notes app always prevails. This is a poem. The first one is going to be a fairly recent poem, kind of thinking about you know, my journey through recovery. You know, I think that there's the contradiction of like becoming like more grounded in a sense of self-esteem, but also sort of the spiritual element of kind of like the ego dissolving. And I think that for me it's just, it does like, it's interesting. It's like not like a painful contradiction, but it is something that I'd like to contemplate. And this is a poem about that. Wanted, and so yeah, sort of about like a life journey of wanted to escape through the aqueducts, was not attracted to any promise, just stood sentry and tried not to get too discouraged by rust, because seeing is believing, and the door's openness was the source of my affliction. Then I penetrated the wall, emerged in lowercase, but it probably looked like capital letters to everyone else. The baggage I carried was not discovered until later. The immutability, the unchangeability I need to invoke to provide a baseline does not negate essential dissolving, but it doesn't negate the shape of what I am. Yes. And this one was written like about a year and a half ago, but I sometimes like I keep periodically sharing it because it doesn't stop being like I'll just say it doesn't stop getting like less irrelevant. Um, um, Was there a sense of the miraculous in the waning days of Weimar? Did it contrast with the inflated suffering of the day? In those sinking days, did every piece of culture get dilated and flattened, but then fleshed out again in Berlin 1930, the same way it did in Atlanta 2024? Did the tech moguls and imperialism moguls shake hands, and could you see that handshake from a high hill at dusk on a Saturday, even as the Frankfurt School worked its wiles to diagram the combine? Was there an edgy, shame-ridden Jew like me telling crypto fascists to check them out if they were interested in reading about the connection between fascism and liberalism? Did the sun shine to the same extent in the waning days of Weimar? Did the body hurt in the same way? And this is going to be the last one. Just 1 second. Ooh. Hope I can find it. And it's a holy incongruence that illuminates the sharp tear of time. The flowers extend upward, fan the passengers, and I start to wilt in this fugue that starts and stops. I have walked shining pathways, just not in the right time. I cut into the air, but you make me feel like there is still time, new time, a space in summer, inviting in the night, against the hideous blacktop, skyscraping forever. And the mood rises like dough to succumb to a connected fate, like sequence, not erupting, but not just embedded. I've left a mark already. This isn't necessary in your light, but it's where I was positioned. To be a genius like men to turn towards to turn towards the crowd, I had to claim the same gender as Emily and Hilda in order to face the crowd. It's natural in this way. No point in being exalted if I'm the scum that wrecks everything. A gem shines interrupted. It projects on the wall a shadow play, where no king and queen or queen wins, just the rustling of a river flowing through all the wars. Thank you.
Gosh, y'all, thank you. Thank you for a very hot, amazing, talented, beautiful open mic. That was fucking glorious. Give a hand for all our open mic folks. And now we have our fabulous feature time. Yes, that was our fabulous feature with Dr. Amanda Bennett. And I'm looking forward to their set. And I'm also going to follow their Substack, Woo in the Real World. I love that. I really love that title. And I think we all need some woo. So now, working on the roots, Amanda Bennett, our fabulous feature. Give it up for Dr. Bennett.
Hello, everybody. Let me see if I can get this right. Okay. I know. I think that'll hold for now. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you all so much for sharing your hearts with this space. Thank you, Theresa and Karen, for holding the space so beautifully. Thank you to Charis Books for creating this environment for us. Thank you for speaking out for those of us on the margins, as feminists, as queers. Y'all are holding it down. And also, thank you to my baby Grace for coming out to support me tonight. Thank you to my wonderful cousin Hallie for coming out. I'm grateful for both of y'all's support and also your courage. So I'm going to do a combination of prose and poetry tonight just to honor the kind of multiplicity of the way I think, because we were never meant to be one thing. So I'm going to start in the garden. And I wrote this actually this morning in my grandmother's garden in Decatur, about 10 minutes from here. Yes. So this is called The Good Word in the Garden. This morning from my grandmother's garden in Atlanta, mug of orange spice tea in hand, I did a small reading. Although my grandmother Gladys has been gone for years now, the gentleness of her spirit still washes over me in that backyard. It's a Zen cocoon, a place where I can listen more closely to the divine energies that hold us all. From my mother piece deck, I pulled 3 cards. You know, real ones know. The Chariot, the Star, the Daughter of Dis. Together, they told a story that mirrors my own. The journey of self-repair I've had to take, not just to write Working the Roots, but to live the life I inhabit now as a queer Black woman who is proud of who I am and where I come from. The Chariot reminds me that comfort, creativity, and confidence in yourself are not destinations, they're practices. The Star teaches how to embrace vulnerability and authenticity as modalities of hope. And the Daughter of Disc, she says that when we commit to self-honesty and sitting with discomfort, even when it's hard, we create a well of power, one we can draw on again and again to transform ourselves, our art, our communities. Please enjoy this small invocation, this tender way of finding hope. We can build worlds from what already lives within us.
Thank you.
Now let's switch it back to poetry. So the first one I'll be reading is Like Blood for Flowers. And in these different poems, I'm looking at this relationship between the mind and the body. You know, what we suppress mentally, emotionally often comes through our bodies. And so how do we begin to find harmony and union where there was maybe strife or discomfort or pain? Like blood for flowers. My uterus clenched tight as a baby's fist calls me with its silent cries at dawn. Alone, I pull the cup of peaceful blood from the soft pinkness of my vagina and seafood. A friend told me that our menses produce the only nonviolent blood because it leaves our bodies willingly. The blood of our cycles is worth more than money because it contains vital minerals: magnesium, potassium, sodium. I hold my liquid self in my hands and marvel at the nourishment I've made. I am so thick, so rich, so dark, so red. There is so much of me, I am hard to dilute. I pour half a gallon of water into my separate self and feed the plants I call my children. This is how it feels to be fed as you feed, to finally know the satisfaction of hunger. I offer the taste of lifetimes my blood only knows. Thanks. Okay, now this one's still in poetry. It's called Holograms in the Buttermilk. It's a play on that phrase some of y'all might know, fly in the buttermilk. I did grad school, all that stuff, and was often the only Black person in the room and struggled with how to maintain authenticity in my spirit in those spaces. And I really developed that skill once I met Grace. And so this poem is about me finding that part of myself and while also finding love. My girlfriend and I are the only two flies at this buttermilk gathering, and again I feel the change. I am brighter, peppier, wittier. It's all a part of keeping things light. I didn't dare notice the difference before loving her. What was the point of otherwise when I was the only one? I was used to laughing from my chest, smiling with no eyes, and posing as if the room was a camera. I thought being unreal would keep me safe. Nobody hurts a hologram. But then I found her and learned how good Blackness feels when it's intimate, when it multiplies. I want to laugh from my belly because it is the source of all life. Being Black in quiet places with her brought me back from the nowhere I was. What must change to make room for living? Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. This next one is called 20s Child. So in the beginning, I talked about, being able to inhabit the life I currently have. I'm 31 years old, but 20s were rough, as they often are for a lot of us, especially when you're coming into yourself. And, I just wanted to, I know, right? It's always, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. So okay. So let's like use this. We're all like cathartically like laughing at our maternal trauma. Okay, so so this is going deeper into the body and thinking about that kind of mind body relationship and how do we find authenticity within. Okay, so I let the wand in deep enough to bring light to dark places where the mystery of me is invisible no longer, rendered real as my skin on the ultrasound screen. I'm bleeding on the inside while the white woman doctor takes a sum of me. This month, I'm 34. I am made of children who die away as quickly as years in the black basin of my belly. Everything here looks good, the doctor says, healthy, fertile, except she moves in me to the side and a tiny moon appears in the night sky of my womb. There, a fibroid tumor the size of my fingertip lodged in the muscles of my uterus. This is the child of my 20s. A small, hard clump of cells that multiplied as I divided myself, that grew as I shrank from who I was. For this tumor, I paid the price of forgetting. There is no knowing too costly to remember. And this next one, still a poem. It's called Rest is the Part in the Waterfall. Yeah, I'll just dive into it. Through the part in the waterfall, I saw my own face for the first time, reflected back to me in the space between the water and the world I wished for. After quitting my life 3 weeks ago and coming inside the warm wetness of the jungle in these blue mountains, the tangle of memories that share my name are coming undone in my hands, like shoelaces, like braids, like a fish's rainbow skin. When I hold these scales in my hands, I know that I was always worth the wait. I stayed away from this place so long because I was afraid of being alone. But to my surprise, everybody came too. Everybody I am followed in the space of my footprints. In this land of rest, I learned that we leave footprints for those who share our faces on the inside. I want to learn my inside faces. They come out against the rush of water like I did the first time I was born. I am my mother's inside face. I know that now. I know that now. I know that now. Away from everybody except my inside face as I baptize myself again and again and again and again in these cool, quick waters until a portal opens up like a cervix effacing, and I step through with my big grown body like a baby and wail as loud as my first cry. There is no shame in being born. Who says it only has to happen once? I'll be born as many times as I need to, not to get it right, but to feel the force of remembering lives that were not mine, but flow through me as easily as I once coursed through my mother's veins. When I am at rest, I am a nursemaid for the dead. Giving self-sweet milk to spirits with fast-drying throats, my breasts contain as much food as I let them. I give to you only as much as I give to myself. Where there is hunger, there is distance. Where there is scarcity, there is fear. I will not fear this closeness of love. Taste my breasts and know abundance. Milk was my first waterfall, my first mirror, my first feeling of love. My mother rested enough to give me life. I will rest enough to give you life, and you, and you, and you, and you, and me. Thank you. Thank you. We're almost done. Just have one more poem and then a little kind of prose sample. So this one is called The Shape of a Promise. It's inspired by my pawpaw. He is from Woodland, Alabama. Did not get a lot of formal education, but is one of the most brilliant men I've ever met in my life. And I'm just drawing on his strength and endurance right now as we face these challenges as a country and as a community. So, The Shape of a Promise. Do you know what it takes to stay the course in the absence of sight, of light, of the promise of a happy ending? The shape of a promise is held by the hands of many, hands that shake, split open upon fear's sharp edges, yet refuse to let go. It takes us all to bear the weight that may have crushed one heart alone. It's tenderness that lifts the fallen sky, that lays new roads where mouths of hate swallowed whole. I think of my pawpaw in his clay-kissed pickup, flying me down Georgia dirt roads, red dust rusting the air, saying, we come from people who have always made a way out of no way. Thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to end with this little excerpt from my dissertation. I'm calling it The Magic and the Mundane. Yes, yeah, I actually wrote about magic and the spirituality of Black women writers like Alice Walker, Toni Morris, and Hortense Spillers. We often think of them as just these kind of secular writers who come up with these ideas and are brilliant, but they're deeply connected to ancestral rituals, deeply connected to their internal spirits. And I wanted to make a record of that so that anyone coming after me would be able to look inward on themselves and spiritually within themselves without shame or hesitation. So, the point of studying magic and spirituality is not to verify their truth, but rather to engage in the practice of learning to live with uncertainty. There's no way to prove that Toni Morrison really saw a beloved walk fully dressed out of the water, or that Alice Walker really made contact with Zora Neale Hurston's spirit in order to find her grave. The only evidence we have is their word and the literature that these experiences produced. I found this to be particularly important because of the value that literary critics place in the act of interpretation. Much of academic interpretation of literary texts relies upon the assumption that a single person, the critic, can explain what really happened in a text. This creates a lived condition in which the critic becomes isolated from others and from spirit, precisely because of the assertion of the authority of their interpretation over others. That sound familiar? This particular practice of interpretation seemed to contradict all my education in Black feminist thought and Black spiritual traditions. The Combahee River Collective Statement, for example, was a collectively authored interpretation of the conditions that affected all the authors' lives in a variety of ways. Similarly, the tradition of call and response within the Black church is defined by the congregation's ability to collectively create meaning and speech in tandem with the pastor, musicians, and choir. In both of these examples, there is no will towards singularity. Spirit and true liberation is found in the arms of the collective. I was very much interested in finding the magic in the mundane in order to communicate its sheer pervasiveness to those who are willing to look closely at the world around them. I was intentional about including mundane scenes from each woman's life, such as standing on a pier watching the river or putting their child down for a nap, in order to show the ways in which opportunities to experience spirituality and repair are abundant in our everyday lives. This, hopefully, will make the possibility of repair more accessible. We are all capable of performing acts of transformative magic upon ourselves and our communities if we consistently choose to be present in our lives. Thank you. So, thank you all so much for listening. I hope to leave you with this idea of liberation is relational and the future does begin inside. Thank you. Yes.